We are live and in color. Welcome everybody. Welcome players to another episode of D&D 5th edition story of Paradym Bold. Our goodly lion, long time no see. Holy crap. That's a name I haven't seen in the chat for a long time. What's up? But yes, welcome again, guys, to another episode. No real announcements this week. I don't think we've got anything, unless anyone else. No more weddings, trash. We're all good. So yes, we're just about to get right into it with a recap this week. So obviously those that are new to the channel, Blue Jay, what's up? If you're not up with the story, jump on the YouTube and check out the VODs. All the previous episodes are up on YouTube, so definitely go check that out. !YT in the chat. We'll give you the YouTube link, and you can go check out all VODs from there. Short of that, hang around and enjoy the story. Yeah, still number one, Goodly. Still number one, buddy. I think Savage came close, but not quite. So, without further ado, we shall get into the recap for this evening's episode. Last episode, you found yourselves back at the guild house where you feasted and drank for the evening, all except Het, who retired to his room early. Fiala followed Het and spoke to him from the heart and offered him a piece of parchment which contained a receipt for a gift that he does not know what is at this stage, but he has got a street address and a place to pick up some form of order that has been placed for him. Sadiq informs Neymaris of the message that he received from Kas. Everyone then turned in except Fiala, who sat up by the fireplace just pondering on what had happened in the recent days. Alessandris decided to act on a letter that she had received during the evening and snuck out to return to the Den of Thieves and was branded as a member of the Order of the Black Fang and given a task to complete. In the morning, you all spent a day shopping, resupplying, resting. That evening, Het presented you all with a silver flask engraved with orders, with the Order of the Crest, the Order's crest, and pretty much apologized for his outburst and behavior the previous day. The following morning, you headed off to the Volond Arena, where Neymaris was set to challenge Voldegrim, the half-giant champion, for her crown. The battle raged long back and forth with some amazing blows from both parties until Neymaris barely got the upper hand by opening a large wound on Volder's neck with her bare hands. Well, first biting it open and then tearing it open with her bare hands to win the match. Very, very close match. Down to the last hit point. Neymaris was on 1 HP when she won the fight and was crowned the champion of Volond. With this, she received a 500 gold purse and obviously prestige and bragging rights as the champion. She is also expected to defend her championship every month. If she does not return to Volond at the time of the championship defense, she will forfeit. With that, you guys rejoiced with Neymaris congratulating her on her win. You returned to the guild house once more to celebrate her victory, and then retired to your rooms for a much-needed rest. And this is where we pick up our story and episode 23 of Paradym Bold this evening. And yeah, so you guys have received an evening's rest. An uneventful evening. You spent the best part in your own rooms doing your own thing. And you awake, usual time, I would imagine, 7:30. Back down to the main guild hall to breakfast and coffee and everything else. So what are you guys doing for today?
Are we waiting for this gift, or are we going to, I don't know.
That's up to you. Let's talk it out.
Het will get the gift, but he will go on his own. He will get the gift. I don't think anyone else other than Fiala knows about the gift anyway.
Pretty much, yeah. So Het and Fiala are the only one that knows about the receipt. So if Het, you want to travel to when I find my notes, to the Queen's Farthing District and Aris Anvil to receive to pick up your gift, you can do so. The previous day as well, Fiala had said that she did something before retiring. So the one thing you all notice as when Fiala does emerge from her room and comes downstairs, she is wearing a brand new set of armor. Very, very different than what she has been currently wearing.
Just a little bit.
I will show you in just one moment. Just for reference for you guys in the chat and in the stream and for the players, it is very, very much like the armor on this particular mannequin you see in front of you, except where the parts that are green on this armor, it is in a pearlescent silvery white. But pretty much that is the armor she's wearing. It is rather revealing, obviously, but it does show the intricate tattoo she also received a while ago. So you all notice this new armor and almost I mean, not a different Fiala, but she's definitely holding herself differently than previously. So that is what you see there. So we'll do breakfast first before Het heads out. So if there's anything you guys want to discuss over breakfast, now's the time to do it. And we'll pick up with Het going to pick up his order.
Well, I think we need to go and rescue Uma and Zuri from...
You cut off again.
Who are they?
The Rifik's wife and...
You're still cutting off every last word.
I've still got my finger on the button.
Then you need to adjust your settings because you literally every last word of your sentence is cutting off.
Right, I didn't know what their names were, so that makes sense.
Oh, sorry. I kind of grew up with them. They were... Zuri was like a sister... Uma was like a sister. And I was there when Zuri was born.
It's not a bad idea to save these people if we must. I guess the pressing, I guess, is also getting to this meeting, this parlay for Sadiq.
Yes, we need to do the parlay. What was the conversation that you guys had with Thorfinn? Because, I wasn't there.
Well, there was a lot of little things. I'm going to just relay all of that and add that there were orcs that helped fight with Yildri and leave out the argumentative bits, I think.
So essentially, for just a recap for those in the chat as well and for players that may have forgotten, basically the conversation involved talking about the reason behind the banishment of Kosis, why it was done, Thorfinn admitted his betrayal, but essentially they had no choice. It was a committee decision. Not any one person within the council made the decision to alter the deal or anything like that. Thorfinn regretted his decisions and basically disbanded the council shortly after that particular incident. He talked about a orc clan that spearheaded the attack on Kosis to make sure he could be banished. And pretty much, yeah. So just, it was all that, there was a bit of information you already knew and some information that you didn't. There was, do you leave out the parts about Het and Alexandros as well?
I'm gonna leave out the part that I was eavesdropping on Alexandros,
Okay.
and I think it's Het's business to say what he wants to say.
So,
And apparently,
so that.
my family were assassins. Awesome.
Also,
That's always good to know.
also, my grandfather was on the council, it turns out. I think that about covers it, really.
Yeah, so Het's great-great-great-grandfather was on the council.
I shortened that down a little bit, yes.
just for context, because Dragonborn don't live that long. So
Did we miss anything?
great-great-grandfather, sorry. No, that's
You
yeah.
and Numerous were out.
Well,
Nope.
yes. Maris probably doesn't want to talk about it, but I'm going to look over at Alessandros and go, you're the reason that she has lost her ability, or has fallen out of favor with her god. So you owe her an apology.
What
I'm
happened?
sorry.
Please,
Was
a
that
bit
the
more
apology?
of an yeah.
Anyone who
probably
doesn't
more-
believe that was a heartfelt apology, roll an insight check.
I call bullshit.
I think
call
I'd be like
bullshit.
everyone.
Or was that an I'm sorry, I don't understand?
22
Yeah,
for
we'll go with
it.
that one.
Yeah, so anyone that rolls higher than a 10, yeah, Alexandros is kind of just not. She doesn't seem like she really cares. Like she's probably aware of it, but it doesn't seem to bother her too much.
Hey, I'm new to this faith thing, okay?
It's because I didn't turn you in.
Is there a remedy? Yeah, a remedy for it?
I'll go and talk to another god.
So what happens now?
My spells may or may not work.
No,
We'll see.
you have to face her in the arena.
Yeah,
Fuck off.
write your head off.
That might work.
Well, we need her spells to work if we're going to fight against the vampires. So, Ali, I think you need to find out how we can make this right.
If it's any consolation, Namaris, without spells, you're fairly a destructive beast on your own.
It's alright. I think we're okay because you've got the heals, and like you said, my healing spells may work. They just might not, but that's it's a moot point right now.
We will help all we can. Excuse me, I've matters to attend. By the way, nice new armor, Fiala. It's good. It brings out your eyes.
And Hip gets up from the table and walks away to do his business. You guys can carry on.
No
I don't
problem.
think he's looking at her eyes.
roll a perception check to see where Het was looking.
That would be a 25.
Het, where were you looking?
Het is very shy, and he actually is looking at the floor.
Definitely not her eyes.
I'm gonna roll an insight check on that because I call bull.
You call bull.
That is the
I call
truth.
bullshit.
You're still cutting off just a touch. You might want to adjust that delay a bit more.
Het was definitely looking at the floor. He was definitely stumbling his words and everything.
So yeah, Het was definitely nervous and quite shy. I mean, you guys have seen him like this before. He's generally like this around a lot of new people. So as confident as he comes across, sometimes he does have his nervousness and kind of shy traits to it. And
You've heard him talk to Sadiq. He's wayward all the time.
pretty much. So Het gets up and says his piece and leaves the guild house, heading towards Erif's anvil to collect his item. We'll get to him in a moment. Namaris, no, you would not have been. You did attempt to the previous day, day before you went to the arena. You did attempt to and were denied entry.
All right.
So pretty much up to you if you want to try again.
I might go and do that while Hit's gone off to get his stuff. Just before we go anywhere.
Okay, so Namaris excuses herself and heads out to head back to the Temple of Helm to potentially, or to try and obviously maybe try and find out a way to how she can redeem herself. So what are the rest of you going to do in this time? It's probably going to take them both about an hour or so to do what they need to do. So you guys have got an hour to kill. What do you do in that hour?
Do we think that Rifik will be all right in jail? He's not gonna be found guilty.
You know you've got about, from when you heard the town cry the day before, you've probably got about 5 or 6 days before the trial is set. The chances, the impression that Sadiq would have gotten from Breton is that they were going to do everything they could to stop him from hanging because of his station in the guild and the city guard and the longevity there was in the city guard. The impression is that he, even if he's found guilty, he probably will not hang. He will more than likely spend some time in the dungeon and be released on some form of probation.
So does that mean he's going to get a pretty ankle bracelet?
Possibly.
A little elf of cracking on it.
Never know. But yeah, so that's the impression you get, that he's definitely. You guys have got an impression he's not going to hang, because technically he was being blackmailed into doing what he did. So and that'll all come out in the trial. I mean, your guys' testimonies. If you were wanting to write a testimony of what you believe has happened to help him, or any kind of reference, I dare say Namaris is probably going to, because she's known him for a long time and known the family.
So we've already done it.
And there you go. So it's completely up to you guys in that respect. So if you guys don't have anything further to discuss over that time that Het and Namaris are away, we will switch over to Mr. Het on his travels to Erif's anvil to retrieve his trinket. So Het, as you go through town, usual bustling town, city day, the streets have a few people sort of milling around. You get a few strange looks, as Valond doesn't really see too many Dragonborn. City guards around and seems to be a little bit more forced than usual, so that they seem to be a little bit more paranoid. There has been rumours of fiends being spotted around the city. Again, the undead issue is still apparent, so the city guard's been quite busy dealing with minor incidences of undead and things like that in and around the city. So it takes you about an hour to get to the anvil, given the instructions that you had. So you find the building. It's just a regular blacksmith's building. It's fairly open. The whole front of it's open. The anvil is working. It's got a little, almost like a storefront type shop piece off to one side. And when you sort of rock up, you can see a dwarven gentleman working at the forge. got his apron on, he's got the hammer, and he looks like he's possibly making a blade of some sort. It's up on the steel anvil, and he's just hammering it. Kang, kang. Puts it back into the furnace, and just a repetitive thing, working the steel. Pretty much as you approach. He hasn't noticed you as you approach this point.
Okay, Hit comes in and does his sort of look around the shop a little, the area. Says, excuse me, sir. Might I have a minute?
And the dwarf still hammering, gang, gang, and sort of doesn't hear you for a minute. And then sort of as he's moving, he sort of catches a glimpse of you at the corner of his eye. Oh, sorry. Be with you in a moment. And sort of grabs the blade and quenches it, and then sets it to one side, hangs his hammer up, and sort of dusts off his hands and dusts down his apron, and sort of turns and walks out to you. Hey, good morning. How can I help you?
I'm just here to collect on this.
And Head hands the docket forward. Can you just DM what the item is to me as opposed to saying out loud? That'd be great.
I can do that.
Yeah, just this docket, sir. If you can fulfill that, that'd be lovely.
One second, I've got to find you. Oh, there you are. So he goes, all right, yes, one moment, and he sort of heads out around through like an old sacking curtain, if you will. Everyone in chat said, you'll find out maybe eventually. Give me one moment. I have this written down. I will copy and paste it to you. But he disappears for a moment. So while he's disappeared, I'm going to find my notes on this. And I'll be right with you, chat. So bear with me.
He will reveal he just wants to see what it is first.
Probably just easier if I write it out. Give me a second, guys.
Or you can resend it.
While he's doing that,
Actually, you've got it written down, haven't you? Fiala? Can't
he
find
walks
it.
around the fireplace and just takes in all the weapons on the wall and bits and pieces.
As you do. Oh no, I found it. Right, so I have found it. So I've just DM'd it to you.
Excellent. He takes the item and says, "Thank you, good sir."
So yeah, he hasn't returned yet.
Payment on that?
He hasn't returned just yet. So he comes back.
Oh, my bad.
And he goes, "Oh, well, he hands it to you. It's in he's put it in like a bound leather pouch as well. So you like almost like a carry bag or something you can tie onto a belt." He goes, "Well, there you go. It's some fine work. I hope you enjoyed it. And no cost at all. It's all been taken care of by the lassie that came and commissioned it."
Excellent. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No problem.
He heads back out and goes straight back to his room, bypassing everyone.
So you don't stop and talk to anyone, just straight to your room?
Correct. I don't sort of come in and just sort of give them a good day and then walk past them all and go straight up to the room.
So yeah, so you guys, so yeah, pretty much as you guys are sort of sitting here discussing whatever you're discussing, talking about the coming events, and Het returns after about an hour or so. He returns and sort of looks up, acknowledges you guys are there, and retires to go pretty much head straight upstairs back to his room. And now we switch to Namaris, who is heading towards the Temple of Helm. Namaris, you, without even barely looking up, you just walk through the city. You know where to go. You've done this. You've walked the streets of these cities many, many times, and you come to the Temple of Helm. The guard posted at the door is still a different guard this time, but still there, and they see you coming. They do recognize you, and one of them steps forward and sort of puts his hand out and says, I'm sorry, Nemaris, we cannot let you in. not before speaking to the High Priest Ahmed. We've been given instructions.
Well, at that point, I take out my books and gauntlet and look at the guard and just give it to him. Walk off without saying it.
So you just hand over your holy symbol, your
Mhm.
temple symbol, and
Yep.
your holy book,
Yep.
and just hand it to him. Don't say anything. He sort of looks at you and sort of puts his hands out and takes it and gives you an odd look. Sort of looks down and then as you sort of turn and start walking away, he's quite stunned. Like he expected that you would talk to the high priest, and sort of pops it into his satchel and returns to his post. So again, you head back to the guild house, or you're going to head back to the guild house. So you go back to the guild house. Again, it takes you about just over an hour to there and back. And what do you do when you get back?
I take Helm's Vengeance out of my pack, out of my holster, and I put my greatsword back. My axe. My axe.
So you take your swax,
My
and
swax.
you put it. Where do you put it? Do you put it in your room?
No, I gently wrap it up and put it in my pack.
It wouldn't. It's a sword. It's not going to fit in your pack.
Bloody will if I try and get it in there. Just somewhere where
I mean, you can put it in your pack, but it'll poke out the bottom, and everything will spill out. And
or maybe I might just go and see Thorfinn and give it to him.
So you're going to go hand it off to Thorfinn. Okay. So you go to the Arcanus, and again, everyone there knows who you are. So you don't really stop and talk to anyone. You just sort of head straight to Thorfinn's office, and he's there sitting at his desk, just doing paperwork, it seems. And as you sort of you don't even really knock. You sort of just sort of poke your head in the door, and as you walk in, oh, name Aris, what brings you by?
And I hold out the sword, and I'm like, well, there's no point me having this anymore, is there?
And he sort of reaches and takes it, and he says, well, there's not any point in not having it either. I mean, it may not serve you as a holy relic, but it is still a very, very fine sword, and definitely better than that old battle axe you used to carry around. I would suggest that you hang on to it at least. I mean, you may not be able to use the blessing of Helm, but it's still a fine weapon.
Oh.
And wielded by someone such as yourself, I'm sure many will fall beneath its blade.
Oh, so I can still use it then? I didn't realise that was a thing.
Oh,
I just thought
it's just a sword. I mean, the blessing was a part of it, but the sword will still cut people.
Oh, this is a good point. All right, no problem. I'll just give it a nice polish and put it back in my
And with that, he hands it back to you, and he gives you that almost like, wow, really kind of gesture. It's like, oh, my head. You get the impression that you've had these types of conversations many a time before. And he says, and congratulations on the win at the arena. I knew you could do it, although I am a little concerned about the brutality of it. But never mind.
Is she all right?
Oh, she's fine. Another scar wouldn't really make much difference to Volda now, would it? And he sort of chuckles to himself a little bit.
Very true. Oh, she had it coming.
Well done. And what any plans? What are your guys' plans? I understand you have an invitation. Someone said something about an invitation to visit Kas. As I said, do be careful. But are you planning to still go or not go?
Well, personally, I'm going. I don't care what the rest of them do. I've got Umar and Zuri to think about because he's.
Oh yes, I did. We have had some sit downs with Riffic, and he did mention that his wife and daughter were being held. He didn't say who, though. Are you sure that Kas has them?
That's what we were told.
Oh, this is indeed unfortunate. What if you are going? I wish you all the best. Make sure you're well supplied with what you need. I guarantee he will not be alone, and definitely be very well protected.
While I'm there, I'm just going to ask Thorfy, are the circles working again? Would we be able to
The
use it?
teleport, yes, definitely. I mean, we could teleport you directly to Anis. It is, or Aris, should I say? Aris. We're going to go to Aris.
Aris. Sorry.
Yes, so we're definitely. We can. Aris has a teleportation circle. It has not been cut off to us. I mean, we do believe that Kas would have some influence in the city, but there's still some that defy him still, I believe. So we can definitely get you there. I mean, at any time you need to travel, you just let me know.
All right, that's cool. Well, I'll let the others know. Thank you for telling me about the sword.
No problem. I mean, as I said, it's the blessing is a blessing. The sword is a sword. I mean, it's still steel after all.
So I go over and give him a big hug.
And he pats you on the back and then sort of releases and pushes you out to arm's length and puts his hands on your shoulders, and he says, just you be careful and tell your friends also to take care dealing with Kas. I would not trust that he is very honourable at all, but if you must go, you must go. Of course, saving the innocent is always something that you were bound to do.
It's alright, I've got my holy water. Well, some of us have. By the bucket. I think I've got a jug full of the stuff if I want it.
Well, there you go then. You're well equipped and ready to go. I do wish you all the best, and hope you safe returns. And he sort of he turns in and sits back down to his desk. Oh, excuse me. Burps a little and then carries on with his papers.
Alright, I'm going back to the guild.
So you head back to the guild house. You return to the guild house. Fiala, Alessandros, and Sadiq are all still in the guild hall, discussing plan of action. You return. Do you sit back down with them?
On that note, I'm actually asking Fiala, does she have spells that produce a lot of running water, or could produce something that would stake?
I do have manipulation of water spells. As far as the stake, I don't know. I'd have to talk to the gods of thorns. Could be a stake.
Thorn whip, probably not. Entangling thorns.
Spikes, spike growth or something.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, it has to be very specific. I mean, it has to be a stake in the heart, as per vampire law. And just to let you guys know a little bit, the vampire laws in 5e slightly differ from my vampire laws, so there are some slight differences. I think the 5e ones are a bit weird and just odd, so I'm using more of a Skyrim type law for the vampire, so just be aware of that.
I look at Sadiq and say, I think we're going to have to rely on our cleric and everything on you for that, and I will probably just support all of you guys as backup.
So, anything else before Damaris returns?
Just a thought. Is it worth me getting my alchemy jug blessed by the clerics for when it's got water in it?
That would not work. It has to be the water itself. But you have a cleric in your group.
Ah, true.
So that is, I mean, I'd allow that. I mean, you literally have a cleric in your group, so.
He can sing a blessing.
Definitely.
I'll talk to Het about that then later.
So, Damaris returns and rejoins the group. Het is in his room still. Het, we'll switch back to you. So you're back to your room. What are you up to in your room?
So Het opens the package, and firstly, he takes out a beautiful notebook. Seems to be made of the finest parchment, bound in a light-coloured leather. It has a lute inlaid into the cover, which is made of like a silvery, white pearlescent dragon scale. And he also pulls forth a pen, which is the handle of the pen is made of the same silvery-looking dragon scale. An ink pen by the looks. Het tries out the ink pen in his new notebook. He opens it up. The pages are beautiful.
And just
he
to give everyone a bit of reference, I mean, this is obviously a ballpoint pen, but and it's not green. But here's essentially what you see here is, like you say, it's an ink pen, so it would have literally the part at the end where the ballpoint would normally be is where you dip it into the ink, and it has a cap on it, so you can recap it and protect it. And essentially, it's that, but just in a silvery white pearlescent dragon scale pattern.
It is very cool. Het dips it into ink, and he makes a few notes in his notebook. He writes, Fiala seems to be a nice little elf with excellent spell skill. Stop. Bullet point. Sadiq seems strong-willed and righteous. Stop. Bullet point. Nemaris is a great fighter with a kind heart. Stop. Bullet point. Ali. ... Then he writes,
poor Ellie.
Ali was fun, but now I'm unsure of what to do about him/her. ... Need to study ... Might talk to Sadiq about her. And then he waits for the ink to dry, recaps this beautiful pen and puts it in his pack with the notebook. He binds it back up in its packaging after it is dry and heads down to the rest of the group.
So indeed, after a while, Het returns to the group, and you all gather around a single table and essentially discuss what your plan of action is.
I'm just going to look at Het. Het, if I give you
Yes,
this
my friend.
alchemy jug, would you be able to, because it fills with water, or whatever you want it to really, would you be able to bless that water? Because that would give you like 12 gallons.
I tell you what, I'm sure I can do that if I just use my bless spell, using a spell slot DM. Would that be fine?
I think that'd work.
I'll actually give him the jug because
You're going to give Het the alchemy jug? Okay.
I'll give Het the alchemy jug.
So mark it off your inventory, and Het, add the alchemy jug to your inventory. And it's in D&D Beyond, so that will give you the ability to conjure up all sorts of liquids and their amounts. And yeah, indeed, if you were to fill the jug with water and use your bless spell to bless that water, it would indeed be holy water and would have to come up with some form of application depending on how you're going to use it.
That is exactly what he does. Thank you, Nemaris. This is a wondrous item. I shall bless it straight away, and he gets to work casting bless on the water that's in the jug currently.
The jug is currently empty. You generally use the jug to when you need the water. It's magical, so you can fill it up at any time.
Oh, okay. In that case,
so
you'll wait for the time.
So pay to wait until you need it, and you'll be able to use it. Next on air. So, floor is yours, guys. Plan away.
Do we notice that Nemaris came in without a few things on her, like her gauntlet and stuff?
The gauntlet was the symbol that she wore around her neck, so you may notice that. Roll a perception check. The book you wouldn't notice because that was in her pack. So anyone who wants to see if they notice it can roll a perception check for me. would have been active, so passive wouldn't count here.
I don't notice it.
What was your roll?
1.
Yeah, critical failure. You just see Nomaris come in. Her gait seems a little different to you, so you put that down to the arena battle the night before. She just seems a little off, but you don't really notice anything else. Was anyone else? 14? Yeah, you probably wouldn't notice either with a 14.
So I turn to Maris and say, so did you sort it out, or is there something we can do?
It's sorted, don't worry.
Well, the question of the day is, if you're sorted, and if no one else has anything to do we look at saving this family before we go to Sadiq's Parlay as quick as we can, I guess? Is that the plan?
It's kind of a 2-for-1.
Yeah, it's all in the same place, isn't it?
Well, I guess if it's a 2-for-1, then it's a win-win situation, right?
Can only hope that it's a win-win situation.
I have confidence in us.
I do too, but I feel like time may be in essence now.
We have the use of the transportation circles.
Oh, that's good to know. That will make it much quicker to get there.
I say we go then.
Yep.
Everybody got what they need to fight vampires?
Were you? I got my sword and I got some holy water, so I think. Hopefully we don't actually have to. Yeah. Hopefully we don't actually have to fight him, because if we do, I've got the feeling we're going to die.
We can make steaks on the way too.
Oh, I like a nice buffalo steak.
And the other kind of steaks.
Chicken?
Yeah.
We just had breakfast in Maris. I don't know if steak's on the menu already.
Steak's always on the menu. So, with that, you guys gather the appropriate belongings you need. You know you're going to be heading to the very southwestern side of Paradym. You need your supplies for dealing with undead, with fiends possibly. Essentially with the information that you've been given, for all intents and purposes you're going to talk, but you're still very aware that Kas is not to be trusted. So it'll probably take you an hour or so, I would say, to organise everything, get yourselves ready, grab everything you need, and then it'll take you another 45 minutes to an hour to walk from the guild house to the Arcanus, ready to travel. When you get there, Thorfinn, when you first get to the Arcanus, you go through the main doors, and Thorfinn is down in the main hall of the Arcanus, and sees you all sort of come in, all ready, geared up, ready for travel. And he turns to you all and says, "Oh, right. So teleportation, I guess. You are heading to Aris, I believe. I urge the utmost care in dealing with Kas. He's definitely not someone to be trusted or to be trifled with. Be careful of how you speak to him. A little information that you may not have about him: he is in life was a nobleman, and still very much considers himself to be such. So he will expect a certain amount of formalities, I would believe."
Have you met him before, Thorfinn?
Many years ago, before he became what he is now, I did know of him and did meet him briefly. I didn't know him well. I knew him by reputation. A fierce warrior, a fighter with great skills.
So what you're saying, he's a stuck-up pompous ass then? Okay.
Exactly.
Did you betray
Alright,
him?
Ellie and him ought to get along like anything.
What was that hit?
Sorry. Thorfinn, did you happen to betray him as well?
And he sort of closes his eyes and puts his head down and lets out a noticeable sigh and says, "No, it's the council betrayed everyone, including myself. And this is why the council was disbanded shortly thereafter by myself and a number of others. I cannot express enough the regrets that I have for being a part of such a thing. But again, we had to do what we had to do to ensure the safety of all of humanity in Paradym. This way." And he sort of breaks off and turns and leads you guys towards the teleporter. So, back down the spiral staircase, you follow Thorfinn to the teleportation chambers, and he leads you into the large room, and he sort of looks around, and then comes to these like several doors, and he sort of turns around and then remembers, yep, okay, that door, and opens a door, leads you into another chamber, and there on the floor is the arcane symbols for a teleportation. He then traces on the ground one final symbol, and the whole symbol lights up in an arcane blue energy, and you all step in once again to the teleporter, and you all disappear in an instant and reappear on the outskirts of the city of Aris, which is odd because the teleportation circle should have taken you to Mage's Tower in the city, but it appears that it has been moved outside of the city in a small sort of 20 by 20 hut of sorts. Dim light, it's still daytime outside. By the time you sort of got to the Arcanus, it would have been looking just after lunch, sort of 12:30, 1 o'clock. So you still got you can see sunshine coming in through the door and a few cracks in the ceiling and stuff. But you have arrived, and you're now inside a hut.
Guys, this doesn't look like a mage area. It looks like something else.
Oh dear, we seem to have come into the toilet.
We have a bad connection on the teleporter.
It doesn't
I
smell
think he
like
just-
an outhouse.
I think he just moved it around because he doesn't want people popping in.
That makes sense. I mean, it actually makes sense.
Sound surprised there, Het.
He's
Well,
used
no.
to dealing with Ellie.
Jeez, Eddie.
So, what are you guys up to? What are you doing?
Opening the door?
You know, open the door. You go to the door, you open the door, and you step outside, and you, where you are, you're in a bit of a wooded area, but you see a well-used road, probably 15, 20 feet from the hut where you are. And to your west, you see the walled city of Aris. None of you have been here before, but you assume that's what it is. It is just literally is a walled city. Gates are open. There's a bit of a market, a few market stalls outside the main gates. There are guards sort of wandering around. A few people, not huge amounts of people, but it's pretty much what you see from where you are. You'd probably be, 50, 60 feet from the main gates.
Do we know where we're going, Sadiq? Do you have a detailed plan of where to meet this person?
No idea.
Wait, so none of us know where to go?
I see we thought this through really well.
Well, we were just told to, meet up there. I'd assume that he would have a representative meet us once we arrived. So
Right. Into the city then, maybe.
really good idea.
All right, guess we maybe ask questions around and see who points us in the right direction.
We're looking for your evil overlord. Where is he? Please point him out. He wanted us to parlay.
So you head towards the city gates. As you walk forwards, again, like I said, you've got a few merchants floating around. There's horses and carts coming and going, things like that. General city business. After about 20 minutes or so, as you sort of get to the gates, you walk into the gates, which leads you into a market district. Which I'll give you a map reference here. So you're coming in at the top of the map, up about here, which leads you into the market district. And the first thing you guys notice is it's actually it's starting to get quite dark, even though it's early afternoon. Seems a lot of clouds seem to be rolling in and are quite thick and dark and quite daunting. It doesn't look like it's going to rain. It doesn't feel like it's going to rain, but there are very thick, dark clouds rolling in. You make your way through the market district, heading towards the centre of town, I would assume. You're going to stop and talk to anyone, or?
Yes, Head would like to scan the market. He's looking for a compass.
So make a perception check. Are you looking for a particular, just a general store?
Yeah, just a general store, somewhere where he would pick up a compass.
Okay. So make a perception check for me.
6.
Yeah, you look around. You're not really noticing anything that stands out to you as that would be a general market in the market district. You see, like, the shop fronts are all kind of the same, really. There's like, looks like what could be an inn. You're not really 100% sure.
Okay, he'll check later.
Yeah, I mean, you could ask around for a general goods store if you really wanted to.
No, he's just scanning.
Just scanning. Yeah, you sort of look around and nothing really stands out as having a storefront that would sell a compass as such. Yes.
How about we speak to one of the guards? Wouldn't that help?
Possibility.
That or go to the tallest building we see.
So
That'd be the center of town, wouldn't it?
Jump
Pretty
off into
much.
a haystack, you say?
what was that? It hit.
Go to the tallest building and then jump off into a haystack?
You could, I guess. I mean, I don't know how well you would do, but
All right, I think go to the guard. Maybe he'll know.
so yeah, you could. I mean, you could try and find the barracks. You could try and find just a guard. There's plenty of city guard wandering around. There is quite a few. You notice. There are a few people giving you a bit of a look. Actually, everyone roll a general perception check for me, just quickly.
Head gets 5.
Head doesn't really notice a whole lot. He's a little bit preoccupied by his pen and parchment book.
Well, I get a
I'm
9.
thinking about the gift. Namaris, you
17.
seem to be a little preoccupied as well. You're looking around, but you're worried about Uma and Zuri. You're worried about the whole helm thing. You just generally not yourself. 17 for Sadiq. You sort of mill around and you spy a couple of city guard that sort of off in the market square, off to one side, probably 30 or 40 feet from where you guys are, and so you make a beeline for them, and they sort of see yeah, you would have noticed. You'd notice them as well. Thank you. Yes, it's hot. So yeah, you notice these guys, and they sort of see you approaching and stand up as guards do. They were a little bit, looked like they might have been either on a break or just lazing about a little bit. So they stand up straight and sort of got swords and shields. You can see they've both got long swords on their hilt. They've got a shield that carries a light blue and black sort of colouring on it. The light blue sort of takes up the centre of the shield, and it's all metal around the outside, and then it's got a black, almost like a black dragon's head on it. From where you are, it's kind of hard to tell, but it looks like a black dragon's head on the crest on these shields. But he stands up and sort of puffs out his chest a little bit as he sees you coming. Hasn't said anything yet. He's just sort of standing up waiting for you to get closer.
Head over towards him.
Do you say anything as you approach?
Hello.
Oh, well, hello. I haven't seen you around here before. What brings you to Aris?
We're actually looking for the people that are in charge of the city, town.
I would have gone with looking for a nobleman, but anyway.
You're looking for someone, the person in charge. Well, that would be Darmata. He's the lord here. You go to the largest manor home in the center of the city.
Don't let him talk about your mother like that, Sadiq.
What's that got to do with my mother?
Darmata.
That's what he said. You're looking for your mother.
My mother dead.
Put my hand on my
and the
sword.
guard's looking at you guys talking, and he's a little confused as to what the hell you're talking about. He said, if you just head down this street here and then make a right at the end and follow that all the way, you'll find it. It's a big house. You can't really miss it.
Ha!
Right.
Told you it was the largest building.
Oh, yeah. Righto, Druid. Come on.
And he sort of gives you a half-pie salute and a nod, and then sort of him and his friends sit back down, sort of lazing back, sort of leaning back and start chatting away again. You get the impression that they are guardsmen, but they're not really that good. They're just kind of there. They're doing the job because they're probably required to. So, you guys head... Yeah, more cops, pretty much. You guys head now down the road that you were instructed. As you get closer and closer to the center of the city, you do notice that there's fewer and fewer people. The people don't look overly happy. You'd expect. I mean, it's starting to get quite dark now, but a lot of the people seem nervous, and when you approach, a lot of people sort of move to the side quickly or enter back into their homes or businesses. They seem very aware of your presence and don't seem overly happy at all. Like, they're very nervous, kind of skittery. Some of them look very emaciated. They're very thin. You get the impression that even the sort of working class here isn't very well looked after.
Hey, I told you should have worn that cologne.
He just shoots a glare at Ellie.
Roll intimidation check.
So, with 20 on the dice,
Holy
that will be a +9. That's 29.
29, yeah. Alessandro, with this remark, this quip that you're used to doing, having this back and forth with Het, he shoots you a glare that gives you chills to the bone. It is not a pleasant feeling at all.
Cold steam comes out of his nose as well.
Yeah, I would say you're frightened with that intimidation roll. You are frightened of Het right now.
I crawl back into my box.
So I would say for the next half hour or so, you're going to be trying to walk in such a way that has you not been able to look at Het. You'll either walk behind him or well in front of him.
I'll
waste
walk
of a
behind.
nat 20.
That was an awesome roll. Was perfect for the situation, but yeah, nat 20 on that. Holy crap.
What a waste.
It normally is.
I'd say, can we get some nat 20s in the
Okay.
chat, guys, for any nat 20 that's rolled? Let's see some nat 20 dice in the chat.
It's my top skill too, intimidation. So I didn't need a nat 20. It's a +9 as it is.
So, any sub in the chat, let's hit those nat 20 die. So for the next half hour, you're afraid of Het, so you don't want to really look at him, you don't want to look him in the eye, you definitely don't want to speak to him, and you're well aware that joking is probably not the best thing to do with Het right now. So you carry on, moving forwards.
Poor Cashy.
It's not you, Trashy. It's all in character.
And then you make that right turn. We're instructed, and as you make the right turn, you do indeed see probably 150, 200 feet down this narrow street is a very large manor home. Again, it's gated and walled, and as you approach it, there are again city guard posted outside the gates. The gates are closed. What do you do?
Go up to the guard and say, we wish to talk to the head honcho.
Afternoon. Do you have an appointment?
No.
Well, you really can't see Darmuta without an appointment. He's a very busy man.
How do we get this appointment?
Will you tell us that you would like to see him, and what day, what time, and we let them know, and we tell you yay or nay.
We'd
What
like to
time?
right now, thanks.
Right now. You're not going. Well, one moment, and he sort of he turns. You get the impression he's not very clever.
Oh! Can I charm person?
Oh, no.
If you wish, you can attempt to charm person.
I'm gonna charm person and say, we're the Lions of the Lawn. You may have heard of us. We'd like to see him right now.
So what's the save on that?
Hang on one sec.
I think it's a wisdom save.
Yes, wisdom save.
Yeah, I'd say that was a failure. He rolled a 6, and I'd say general town guard, his wisdom is probably going to be a +1 or a 0. So, yeah, a 7. I'd say that's a failure. So, with that, he sort of stops and turns back and goes, "The Lions of Valond, you say?" Yes, I have heard of you. One moment, and he scuttles on in at a quicker pace, and 15, 20 minutes go by, and he comes back and says, "Well, Darmuta will see you now, of course." And he opens the gate and leads you up to the manor house. He leads you into the front sort of foyer of the house, and it's like a big stately home, and lots of old paintings, portraits of several different people on the wall. You'd guess probably family members. They're all half orcs, and big wooden staircase sort of split going up both sides of the room, heading up to a second floor. There's a big double doorway to your left, and then several single doors to your right. And the guardsman leads you to the big double doors and sort of pushes them both open and leads you into what looks like a study type room with chairs, there's a table, a few books, and a big desk, and everything is. Please wait here. He will not be long. And sort of as he leaves, he pulls the doors closed, and exits the room.
Phew.
And again,
I'm gonna have a look around the room.
you can have a look
Yeah, I
around
was
the room.
about to do the same thing.
So, I mean, as a general look, you just sort of get up and have a nosy around the room. Like I said, there's probably maybe 6 or 7 chairs around not a large table, not really a coffee table, but not a dining table either. It's sort of somewhere in between. There is a set of bookshelves behind where the seating is, and it's a full range of different books. There's books in all sorts of languages. There's looks like Common. Those of you that read Elven will notice some Elven titles. At Sadiq, you'd probably see some Orcish titles there as well. And then following around the room, round to your right, you've got like a sideboard type thing which has crockery and looks like glasses and stuff in it. And then around, keep around, a great big bay window, and in front of that bay window is a big solid oak desk. It has parchment and quills on it. It's got drawers and that. I mean, it's a typical big writing desk basically. And then there's a couple of portraits on the wall. There's looks like the head of a large boar on one wall as well, and you get the impression this guy might be a bit of a hunter. And there's a couple other different stuffed heads around a different sort of large game around the room. So after about 15 minutes or so, 15-20 minutes, the doors reopen, and in walks a half-orc gentleman. He's around 6 foot tall. Looks to be maybe somewhere in his mid-30s. He's wearing nobleman's robes, and he comes in and nods to you and sort of moves forward and then sits at his desk. And good afternoon. How may I help you today?
We're looking for a gentleman that may be a noble type individual.
Yeah,
within
there are many nobles
town.
within the city. You would have to be a little more specific.
His name is Kas.
And you, with the mention of Cass's name, you notice the instant tension in this man, and he goes, and he sort of stammers a little bit. You wish an audience with Cass? Why would that be?
Quite the opposite. He wishes an audience with us.
He has requested you? Oh, yes. And you just sort of see him collect himself, and he goes, very well. He is expecting you. You are to move to the south end of the city, and you will be met by some of Cass's elite guard, and they will lead you to the castle. He does not come to the city very much, but he will definitely receive you this evening.
This castle, where is this castle?
The castle is to the southeast of the city. Like as I said, you must go to the south gate of the city and be met by the captain of the guard, and he will lead you to where you need to go. Captain Wolf is who you will speak to. You will know him if you see him. Believe me.
Looking down at my symbol, is it glowing at all?
Your symbol or your sword?
As the symbol.
The symbol? No. No. There may be a faint glow for the undead, but it's very, very faint.
So it's not within this room, at least.
No. Definitely not within 30 feet.
I'm gonna whisper to the person closest to how does he know who Cass is? Do we want to ask that, or I don't want to ask it.
So you'd be standing next to Head.
I suppose. I can ask him if you want. Is he still in the room?
Yeah, he's still sitting at his desk. He's just looking at you guys while you discuss amongst yourselves.
Hit sort of pops his head up and says, "Excuse me, may I ask you, how do you know this Kas?"
Well, Kas is a benefactor for many things in the city. He's been a long time in the castle. He frequents the city quite often.
So the people here love him.
And again, you see him shift and a little bit uncomfortably in his seat. And yeah, he sort of says, "Oh, loving him is a very no, not really. But I can't say anymore. And you notice he's really nervous by this point."
We understand.
So, Fiala, the answer is, I think everyone here is under his slavership.
Or just scared of being drunk.
All right. Well,
That's
I don't-
true.
I don't think we're going to get much information out of him. So, do you guys want to head to the castle?
We could beat it out of him.
Again, head you first.
I don't
No,
think there's need for violence against him. He's clearly scared shitless of Kas, with good reason. You know, he's only mortal, can't defend himself.
I feel really sorry for the people of this town. I don't think that we can really help them, though, do we? Can we?
I guess by ridding the town of this Kas, maybe the people will thrive. Maybe things will get better. I think we will be doing a good thing.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So you guys are saying all this in front of him?
I have no fear of this.
You know, that'd be funny. Yes,
I'm
we
doing
are.
it telepathically.
No, it's fine. I mean, if you want to do it in front of him, that's fine.
It is not scared of him.
Well, he like I said, he's. You can see that he's definitely worried. About what's going on, and it's just he looks really nervous, and you can tell, like, he's
Excuse
obviously
me,
scared.
your mother.
Darmuta.
Your mother.
Darmuta.
Yo, mama?
Anyway, does Kas run this town? Is this what you're saying? Kas runs this place?
He not only runs this place, he owns this city. He has been here long before even I was here, and I've been here for 25, 30 years. My family has been here for 200 years. He was here before them. He is not human.
Does he not take care of the people here very well? When we walked in, there were a lot of malnourished-looking beings.
And at this point, you see now that he knows he's said too much. He says, I'm sorry, I cannot speak to this anymore. You must leave. You must go meet with him, or we will all suffer."
All right, I agree. Let's not put him in jeopardy.
Yeah, please. Just do what he asks, and no one will die this day. And like, he's wringing his hands. You can see the sweat on his brow, the nervousness in his voice. It is really apparent that he is absolutely terrified.
One last thing.
If I must.
Hit leans over the disc, puts his face as close as he can to him, breathes cool air and says, "Where can I find a compass?"
Roll an intimidation check. Or a persuasion, whichever your intention
Jesus
is.
fuck, I just rolled another natural 20.
Oh, no way. So
29.
intimidation or a persuasion, your choice. Another natural 20, chat.
Yeah, intimidation 29.
Holy shit.
He's shitting himself.
Poor Damuta. He sits there and he sort of, as you get closer and you get like right up to his face and you grin and you breathe that cold air on his face, he sort of leans back, eyes wide, and goes, reaches down and pulls open a drawer and says, "Here, take mine," and just hands you a compass. And it's a nice looking compass. It is very well crafted.
Head,
Ooh.
why do
Yes.
you want a compass?
Why else would you need a compass? He said, "Head south." Do you know which way south is automatically? I do not.
Very cool.
Funny you
Uh-huh.
say
Very
that,
cool.
but we were actually trained to look for the North Star and then go the
Well,
opposite direction.
Neymar should probably have an idea of where south is by simple navigation. But in Het's defense, it is super cloudy, there are no stars, and it's still daytime.
I
And
have
then
my
Mars-
navigator's tools, remember?
But it's
Which
there's
would
no-
have a compass in it.
It'll have a
And I'll
compass in
always
it.
rely on you.
I just realised I got them on the ship, remember?
Oh,
So you literally just
wow.
scared the shit out of someone for nothing, Head.
Master Dragonborn, DM's inspiration, dude.
Cheers, thank you.
Double nat 20s on intimidation. Fucking hell.
Namaris,
It's
say
going to be
good
one of
thanks.
those nights.
Namaris, one day you may not be with the group, and we need to, well, like children, we need to find our way without you. So it just maybe would help that we had a second compass.
That's not going to happen, is it? Who's going
And
to look after you lot if I'm
while
not
you
here?
guys are discussing the compass amongst yourselves, what's your passive perceptions, guys? I don't think anyone is like super high.
16.
16.
Yeah, only
16.
13.
Cheers for the
I'm
British
14.
twin. Yeah, so you guys notice Daramuta is slowly edging his way around the outside of the room, slowly heading towards the door. He just wants to get out. He wants to go back to his bed chamber and lock himself away. He is terrified.
Oi, where you going?
You cannot stay here. You must go. Go. I said to south of the city. Catch up with Captain Wolf, and he then just bolts, gone. And you hear him sort of up the stairs, and he's gone. You hear a door slam, and you hear it lock even from where you are. It's a big heavy lock.
It is getting darker. Maybe we should start going.
Yeah, I think it's about time we actually head out.
So you leave the mansion. The other thing you notice is there's no servants, which you would expect to see in a lord's home. There are no servants, which is odd.
Yeah, they've probably all been eaten.
So you make your way back out of the house. You head back down the small path towards the gate. The two guards are still there. The guard at the gate is still charmed by you, Fiala. He gives you a big grin and a salute as you guys leave. You, with Het's assistance with a compass, you find which way is south, and you head towards the southern end of the city.
See, I told you it would be handy.
So,
Except that there's a
I pull my one out of
sign
my
just
pack and
there
I'm
saying south that way.
yeah. So again, to give you a little bit of it's interesting, just a bit of information about the city. So as you walk through the streets heading to the south of the city, you walk through a district which is called the Dragons District. You see a number of people still around the place. They all seem very strange, very standoffish, like they're watching you, keeping a really close eye on you. You guys feel a little uneasy as well. You feel like you're being watched wherever you go. As you approach certain groups of people, they hurry out of the way, again, locking themselves in their houses or places of business. You do see, you see an inn, big 2-storied brick building. Looks like it's got a big reinforced wooden door. Has a few torches around the outside which are not lit, but especially this time in the afternoon. It's name of the Crossed Wands is the name of the inn, which is on a big sign, which is 2 big wands across it, and it's wrought iron. It's got the crossed wands across the sign there. You head further towards the south of the city, and you then see a group of 4 or 5 guardsmen approaching. One of the guards is wearing plate, looks like very well made plate. From this distance, it looks relatively clean. He's got some large plate pauldrons, a very dark red cloak trimmed in what looks to be silver or grey. He has again a helmet, a large knight's type helmet covering the bulk of his face. You can't really see his face at this stage. But they are approaching you with purpose. They're not like they're just patrolling. They're definitely heading towards you. You guys obviously being told about Captain Wolf. You believe that this is potentially him. They're at the moment probably about 100 feet down this long street, though, but they're definitely coming towards you.
May I make a suggestion, Allie?
Yes.
Because we need some decorum, perhaps it would be wise to be silent.
All right.
I give him a look.
Roll a persuasion check for me, Fiala.
19.
Yeah.
Come on, guys, give me a break.
Alessandros, you as much as you played the fool a lot, and you were generally that response, you would still pretty much just saying, yeah, okay, cool. You're gonna pretty much do what I want anyway. With that, you think about it for a second, and think, yeah, maybe she's right. Maybe it's not a good idea to play the fool at this point in juncture. It's probably not a good idea. So you take on board very much what she's just said. And with that, on top of that, Namara shoots you a glare as well.
I'm not going well tonight, am I?
So now the guards, the patrol is probably 50, 60 feet away from you. They're definitely making a beeline for you. So as I said, you guys would probably assume this is Captain Wolf, and they push forward and they sort of march, and it's very much kind of a march. It's not casual, like it's with a purpose. And they come right up to you and they stop, and the guy in the plate removes his helmet, places it under his arm, and he nods to you all, and sort of half bows as well. I am Captain Wolf. I have been instructed by my lord to lead you to the southwestern side of the city and show you the way to Kiramroth, my lord's humble home. Please, follow me. And he then replaces his helmet. He is a human, very short, dark hair, very military. He probably looks to be in his mid-30s. Really intense brown, really intense sort of bluey browny. It's a real odd colour, sort of bluey brown eyes. And he just then, helmet on, back to almost like attention, pivots, and starts heading back the way they just came. The other guards split and stand two aside, waiting for you guys to follow. Do you follow?
Yes.
Yarp. Those we better follow, otherwise we're not going to get anywhere.
So you all move forward, following the captain. As you do, two of the guards move in front between you and the captain, and two guards wait and flank you guys to the rear. So you now have Captain Wolf in the front, two guards side by side walking just in front of whoever's leading, and then two guards behind. Weapons are not drawn. They are just essentially escorting you.
Okay, I'm behaving now, okay?
Head
So,
stays to the very rear by the last
Okay.
guards, the very back guards.
no problem.
And he also while he's walking, he uses prestidigitation just to make like how you get low lying fog, like the Undertaker's entrance, just to glide behind him as he's walking.
Roll sleight of hand to see if you can get away with casting the spell without being noticed. Because it's vocal and somatic, isn't it?
I'm just checking.
I'm pretty
Damn
sure
it,
it is.
I roll low, but I'm going to use my DM's inspiration.
Go for
Okay, that really didn't help.
it.
Where's my nat 20s now? So that's
What was that? A 6?
a 7.
7. It's not much better than a 6. But yeah, with that, as you go to move your hand and go to cast the spell, that one of the guards behind you feel a spear tap you on the shoulder, and he says, "Sir, I would not do that if I were you." And it was very, not threatening, but very to the point, and you get the impression that definitely probably not a good idea.
I get your drift, buddy. Fair enough.
And he sort of gives you a nod and spear back up and carries on walking. So it takes you guys with the group about 20 to 30 minutes to reach the southwestern gate, which opens out. Again, a couple of guards at the gate. They open the gates for you as you approach, and what you see before you is another gated, not a wall but a bridge. The bridge, there's a whole bunch of small islands between. I'll bring up the main map here for you guys to give you an idea of roughly where you are at the moment. So you guys are leaving the Aris settlement, and you're moved out to this edge here, and you're now literally going to walk from Aris to Kirim Roth. It's going to take you the better part of 8 hours to get there. Series of bridges to cross before you get to the old castle. So that is pretty much where you are on in the grand scheme of things. If you want to look at where you are on the actual map, you are right down here. Is probably the furthest away from Volange you could probably get at this point. So that is pretty much where you are at the moment. So with that, the captain then stops and turns back to you guys. You see guards at the top of this gate, like almost on like a walkway on the top of this gate, and Wolf sort of signals to them, and they open the gate. Wolf then turns to you and says, This is the way to my lord's castle. It'll take you some time to get there, but fear not, there is no creatures or threats of any kind in your travels. You have been promised safe passage. And he sort of bows to you again and puts his hand out for you guys to enter through the gate.
Are there mushrooms?
Oh my god, really?
There are perception check, Nemaris.
Nope, there's no mushrooms.
Very low, was it?
I rolled a 4.
Rolled a 4. There are no mushrooms. there are very few living things that you can see here. Any trees are kind of petrified. It's almost it looks like a very swampy type area. Not much living. So you guys proceed through the gate onto the bridge.
Yep.
There's not much room. So as you do that, the gates close behind you. And this bridge is not just a bridge with a gate at each end. It's got archways leading all the way down, and it's got walkways across the top. And as you head towards the castle, you do notice every 150 feet or so, there is an armed guard on either side. Sadiq, your sword glows a steady blue from the moment you step onto the first bridge. Not bright enough to be... not your sword, your emblem, sorry. Not bright enough for it to be very close, but you suspect, just by looking up and looking around, that some, if not all of these guards are probably not living. So you travel for the first hour. Again, you don't see anything out of the ordinary. Well, you don't see anything that's normal either. Let's say it's still very dark. You're mid-afternoon. The clouds have definitely kept it kind of eerie looking. You have water flowing under the bridge as you cross over it, and then you reach a spit of land, and the bridge opens out on the land. You've got a well-traveled path which you keep following, and you come across to another bridge a bit more.
Does the deep sword glow that whole time?
When you come off the bridges,
It's an emblem.
it's not sort of emblem around his neck. When you come off the bridges, it dies out. So it's only when you're on the bridges, when those guards are within that 30 feet, that it starts to sort of emanate that.
Oh, okay, sweet. Not the sword that I was thinking of, buddy.
No,
Lord of the Rings.
kind of the same concept, but at this point, a light rain starts to fall. Nothing too much, just like a bit of a light drizzle. But after the next sort of 40-50 minutes or so, even in a light drizzle, you guys feel that water starting to seep into your armor, and you do become a little bit waterlogged. But you carry on onto the next bridge, and again, Sadiq, as you enter the next bridge, the emblem starts to glow that same blue color. After about 4 hours of traveling, do you guys want to stop and take a rest? By now, we're hitting sort of early evening, around dinner time. You can stop for a short rest if you wish, or if it's up to you whether you're carrying on.
Might be worth a quick one just to have some food.
And you stop and have a discussion about what your plan of action is, what you're going to discuss with Cass.
That's a good idea.
Yes.
So you do you want to stop on this bridge, or do you want to get to the next bit of land and maybe stop there and maybe light a range? You're probably not going to light a fire unless you can do it magically.
I can do it magically.
We can light a fire. That's not the problem. It's putting the bastard out afterwards.
It's raining. It's not going to take much to put it out.
Well, we've got a jug that produces oil, which can...
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. True.
Lighting the fire is the easy part. It's putting it out afterwards.
So, you on the bridge or off the bridge?
I vote off.
Yeah, off the bridge.
Off the bridge.
Don't want to burn the bridge down.
Well, the bridge is all brick and concrete. They're not wooden bridges. They're very well constructed. Looks like they've been there for a number of years. But off the bridge, it's fine. You come off
be a
this next
campsite
bridge,
nearby anyway.
and you walk down the path a little bit, probably another 10 or 15 minutes, and you find a suitable area just off the beaten path, where there's actually a little bit of shelter from a few trees that are quite close together, and the branches actually form a bit of a canopy. So it does give you a bit of shelter from the rain, being that it's only a light rain, so it's not too too bad. You set up and start a fire, and you all have a seat and mark off a day's rations. You have something to eat. You maybe make a pot of coffee, whatever you need to do. And what are you going to discuss at this point? Crap. Dropped on my coaster.
Do we need a spokesperson for us? And if so, what is it that we want to say? Obviously, we want to ask about the wife and her son.
I'll do it.
And I ignore Ali and say, and also, we want to make sure they come back with us, hopefully.
I'm thinking Het's the best one to be our spokesperson, being the bard. He seems to know the words. I'm more willing to kill the prick than talk to him. But at the same time, we do need information about what's going on with prophecy and stuff. And I would also like to find out who killed my village.
How about we let the Maras do it then?
Well, I was going to say let Sadiq do it, because he's the one that needs to find out the information as well about his village.
Now, just as a point of reference, this is the first time you've heard Sadiq say this about his village.
Good point.
Well, it sounds like he needs to talk to him about something.
Sadiq, you mentioned a village. Did something happen to a village?
Well, it's a high possibility that he ordered or knows of who wiped out my clan, which
So
I have actually told you guys about when we first met.
That's
Yes,
right,
you did. You said your clan was wiped out.
Yes,
Yes.
you did.
Um.
My bad.
Okay, so if I'm going to speak, if you're happy for me to speak, we maybe need to take some notes on what you want me to say. Otherwise, yes, it's good for you to go and speak to him if you think you can keep your sword in its sheath. You do not want to cross swords with another man at this time.
Oh, God, hit.
Wow.
The puns are real.
Puns are always real.
There's obviously he has to get something out of this. Otherwise, he wouldn't have asked. He's not just doing a favor for us. Do we want to know? Should we think about what he's wanting to get out of this?
I hold up my hand and I go, one, we need more information about psychosis and that whole thing. I would like to know about whatever we can find out about what he knows about my clan being wiped out, and also try to kill as many of these pricks without getting ourselves killed. Would be nice, but as we've been walking in, there has been a lot of undead that we've walked past, so I've got the feeling that we would be very outnumbered if we did take a fighting aspect to this whole thing. And diplomacy is not my strong suit.
Well, you know I'm all about diplomacy, but if this is a parlay, it would be bad manners to start cutting off his minions. I would think he wouldn't appreciate that.
We can do that on the way out, can't we?
Don't think he'd appreciate that.
The problem we have is we're running headlong into the enemy territory. We're there now, right? His army, his people, his slaves. If we walk in and do anything other than be diplomatic, we might win. We could kill him, but we'd all be slaughtered. And then what would we have achieved? Nothing. The prophecy continues. So Ali, you might just want to run in sword swinging, as it seems that you must do. If you want to kill people, that's wonderful, but keep our names out of it.
Yeah, what? What? Nah. What?
But you're the one who kills people, are you not?
Ouch.
Well, you did tell them that you come from a clan of assassins, so...
That
Yeah.
was an accident.
What was an accident?
I think maybe we need to stop giving her so much shit about what happened with Beth.
Beth.
Beth. Now I give Ali a bit of a poke in the ribs. And that's what they're talking about, don't you know?
I don't know exactly what he's talking about. What are you guys talking about? I'm not going in there.
Oh, good. That's good. That's probably the best thing we need.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the only things I can think of. Anyone else can think of anything else?
Well, I guess we've got to figure out, like you say, what he needs, what he wants us to do, what he's bartering. We need to get the family out and make sure they're safe. You want to know his plans, but we want to know about Kosis. We want to know what the deal is with Kosis, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right too.
Hey, Sadiq, you know a lot about vampires, don't you?
I know enough. I don't know everything, but I do know enough.
Is a vampire going to be able to see, let's say, a shapeshifter like Allie, who can change her shape? Are they going to pick up on that?
Roll a intelligence check for me, Sadiq.
You always pick the shit ones that I got.
Well, it's an intelligent thing. I mean, it's about information that you may or may not know. So,
Well, guess what? That is a 2.
Me smart.
yeah. My name's Sadiq. I know lots. No.
3 colors.
With that, you don't really know whether that is a vampire trait or not. That you know that some vampires have some skills, others have other skills. It's varied depending on the type of vampire. But you've
It's
not
hit
heard
or
of that
miss.
before. Yeah.
Well, Allie just might come in handy with her shapeshifting if we need to get out of a bind.
True.
Okay.
So, anything else you guys want to discuss, or you break camp?
I kind of want to talk to Allie by herself.
You can pull her aside if you want to.
All right, I'm gonna just when they're busy chatting, I'm gonna ask Allie to come to a little corner away.
Alessandros, you are beckoned away to a private discussion with Fiala. Do you go?
Nervously, but yes.
So, Allie, we're part of a team, and I thought it only fair to say that when you were talking to Thorfie, I overheard what you were saying, and I want you to know that if you need help, I'm able to help you if I can.
Oh, what kind of help?
Well, if as long as you're honest with me, and if there's any way, since we are a part of a team, that I can help you with information or anything like that, I can try my best, because I'd like to know what happened to your family too. I care about you.
Well, as you heard from what Thorpe said, my family was part of an assassin clan and tasked with killing a dragon. So
All dragons.
I'm guessing all dragons. So I'm guessing if I find out what dragon they were after, I can go ask that dragon or kill it. Either way, I don't mind.
Well, you do know I love dragons. I just love all creatures. But what if this dragon didn't kill your family? Then what are you gonna do?
find out what happened to them. And maybe kill a dragon.
I can help you find the people responsible, and I've got your back if you need me. That's just all I wanted to say, because I didn't want to have this between us that I know stuff and I didn't tell you. That's all. So, you know.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And
Do you
then
know what's wrong with the
what?
Do you know what's wrong with the others? They're kind of hating on me right now.
Well, you know, Namira's part of the team too, and we love her. And I think they might be a little upset. This is just a guess that she wanted to be a paladin, and the whole murder charge thing is kind of interrupting that. So, yeah.
She said she sorted that out.
Well, she has to abide by the law. So, if you didn't do it, I'll be happy to go with you to Breton Hart, and you know, I don't know. If you have any ideas, maybe we should do something about that.
Well, how about we finish the task at hand, then we'll sort our shit out later.
Yep, agreed. Let's go back.
Yep.
So during that time, while Elisandros and Fiala are off privately speaking, the rest of you, what are you doing?
Het moves over to Sadiq and nudges him and says, "Hey, Sadiq, got a minute?"
I've got as many minutes as you do, Het. What do you need?
Just a couple of things I wanted to mention. What are your thoughts on Ellie at the minute?
I'm a tad bit annoyed with Ali. He has weakened the party by being what he is and not like following the law.
I agree somewhat, but I'm a torn being, really. Everything on my cleric side tells me we should be cutting him down, chaining him up, and turning him in. Everything on my, I guess, Dragonborn side, my mother's side, my bard side is telling me, I mean, he hasn't done anything wrong by us. He is a good bugger. God, I'm so confused.
Shim.
Shim.
I find that works, just shim.
Yes, I've got to practice that, Shim. Nonetheless, for us, Ali has been there this time. Well, I mean, quite some time now. Even before you came along, I've known Ali longer than you, I guess. I was just disappointed to find out that Ali had come from such a disgruntled area, background, whatever you want to call it. I do have a sleep potion in my pack if we do need to submit her at some stage. God, what did you say, Ali? Nonetheless, I'd like to make it work. I find myself angry at her every time I speak to him, her. I'm trying to shut it down. There's just all these teeth. It's hard to do the shh thing.
Shim.
Shim.
It.
Him. Through the teeth.
Well, wait a minute. If I remember my, thing about shape changes, they actually do have a proper sex, male or female. Yeah, they do. Male or female, because there's a mother and there's a father. But I don't know Ellie well enough to know if it's a him or if it's a her. Or
I
it's
agree
just
with
an it.
No, they've moved away privately.
I mean, I guess I could ask Ellie. But first, I mean, my other question was, earlier, Ellie tried to joke with me and I kind of stared her down and frightened her off a bit. Was that too hard, do you think? Or was that justified? I don't know. I've been in a couple of different states of mind lately, and I must apologize to you as well. It's not fair on everyone when I'm moody.
Everyone's allowed to be moody. You've had a pretty rough week or so.
Appreciate your, I guess, honesty there. I have had a rough week, but it's not fair to take it out on everyone else. Nonetheless, it's bound to happen again because that's just the way I am. But I will try my best not to. And lastly, sorry.
Is it that time of the month?
Well, I don't know. It's not often I have people die that are of my family during any specific time of the month. A couple in a row kind of just threw me off.
That'll work. So it'll be that time of the month because, you're having a bad month.
True that.
But at
Lastly,
least there's the bright side. Once you kill psychosis, everything will be forgiven.
It's just Kosis, not psychosis.
Oh, it's psychosis.
Oh, he's a bit psycho, I suppose. So yeah, I'll let you do that. You can call him whatever the hell you like.
I did notice you added the side to the Kosis earlier. I do like it. It reminds me of an old Dragonborn wrestling friend I had.
Oh wow.
Oh, I'm going to regret this. Who was that?
He was back when we were younger, and it wasn't that long ago because Dragonborn don't live too long, but we were wrestling as young Dragonborn do, young children. And we have a tradition in the Dragonborn way where we learn to wrestle each other hand on hand. I wasn't so good at it. I tended towards the magic side of things. Nonetheless, this friend of mine, he wasn't called Psychosis. His real name was something else, but he nicknamed himself Psychosis, and he became this great masked wrestler. He flipped off the ropes of the ring, and it was wonderful. But that's a story for another time, anyhow.
Right. And what was your second question, Ed?
Oh, yes. The item you have that glows around certain beings, I believe. I'm not sure. You said you could tell they were undead or something.
Yes. While we were at Volont last, I asked some clerics to bless my symbol to identify undead and fiends and evil. So it will change colours depending on what's nearby. So I'm a little bit more alert to knowing things like my enemy type.
That is absolutely bodacious.
I thought it was pretty cool too. And it only cost me a couple of gold.
I'll tell you what, next time we get into a fray, so to speak, if you don't mind calling out if you know what's going on, because I do have a similar skill with the undead and the fiends and whatnot. If we have a heads up of what they are, I may be able to assist and aid. So yeah, yell a heads up, that would be awesome.
Well, I can tell you what colours things will be depending on what creature it is. So seeing the colour, you'll know automatically. Then I explained to Head that if it's evil or fiendish, it will glow like a yellow. If it's undead, it will...
arcane, a radiant yellow. So same kind of color, sunlight yellow as radiant spells. Arcane blue for undead, and then
kind of green.
Kind of a mix. Yeah, kind of a mix of the both. When it's both. Like playing Twister. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
So what was green for? Sorry.
For both.
If they're evil and undead at the same time, so
if you get a
radiant damage is going to do really good against them.
Yeah, if you end up with a fiend and undead in the same vicinity, it'll do both. It'll go the greener color. And whether you see it or not would be based on your positioning. Obviously, if you're behind Sadiq, you may not see it. So just be aware of positioning.
Geez, Sadiq, I do appreciate the little chats we have. You enlighten me sometimes.
They're always fun.
I've bugged you a lot with questions over the past weeks of journey. Is there anything you'd like to ask me?
What is the Steel Lady?
Now, funny you should ask. She's a deity that, for my father at least, he came under. She's a great god, a god of righteousness and just. You've not heard of her? I can't believe.
No, my god is Tempest. So I like war, that type of thing. I've never really been into the magical arts or music.
So roll a history check for me to see if you have heard of the god Tempest before. Religion check, sorry.
Okie dokie. That would be. I don't think so. That's a 7.
Yeah, no, you sort of think about it for a moment and you think Tempest. No, I've never really heard of that deity before.
Well, Sadiq, if you ever find Tempest letting you down, I haven't had too many problems with the Steel Lady. And she goes by the name Maggie. But she's a great goddess of sanctuary, order, and mostly justice for all. So if you ever find yourself turning from Tempest, there's always a place at her doorstep.
I kind of just nod my head and go, no, Tempest hasn't steered me wrong yet. I've been around for how many years?
A few. You're a half orc, so
30 years.
30
yeah,
odd years,
I've been
yeah.
around for 30 years, so he hasn't steered me wrong yet. And it's kind of the god of my people anyway, so.
Oh no, that's fine. I'm not trying to convert you. Just saying, the Steel Lady Maggie, she always takes on any newcomers. But it's good. It's good to be a solid and near religion. Excellent talk. Anyway, I shall mosey on. I've taken up enough of your time. I guess we have to get to this business.
Well, you need to warm your lips up for this parlay that we're about to go into. So it's probably good that you're getting your vocal juices going.
Yes, I guess you're right. Yes. Vocal juices. I've never heard it called that before.
that sounds kind of, yeah, but yeah. Anywho, so discussions had, the hour flew by pretty quickly. You guys had your different discussions. Now, as Namaris, was there anyone you wanted to speak to in this time?
No, I was just going to sit in the corner and polish my sword.
Polish your sword? Okay.
Polish my swags.
Polish your
Swags.
swags. The Namaris is sitting there polishing her swags. And so the hour goes along reasonably quickly. You feel you've had enough of rest after walking as long as you have. And the rain does stop after about 45 minutes to almost that hour. It's kind of uncanny. It sort of started without warning and then sort of stopped by the same thing. It hasn't cleared up. It's still very cloudy. By this time, you're heading into early evening around sunset, so you can sort of get it starting to get quite dark now, especially with the cloud sort of rolling in. You douse your fire, you collect your packs and everything else, and you now head forth towards the next bridge. By this stage, you can probably see, with the moonlight that's sort of starting to come up, you see the big moon coming in behind some thin cloud off in the distance, and you probably see the probably outline of a large castle type structure. So you carry on walking, hit the next bridge again. Sadiq, the symbol around your neck glows that steady blue as the guards, again, it's kind of uncanny. They're all posted at their points. None of them have seemed to move. They don't really look at you. So you kind of just have a nose in, and they just seem almost like they're not moving at all. Like you get a little bit of movement here and there, but not much. So we carry on. Again, hit the next bit of land, and we move forward, and you get to the last bridge. Last bridge is quite a lot longer than the other bridges. It's actually spreading across quite a large body of water. And now you see that castle, the clouds start to move and break and move away, and the sky is quite clear now. It's now dark, and a bright moonlight. So you guys can actually see reasonably well with the moonlight. You don't, even those without dark vision, you've got enough moonlight to see reasonably well to walk where you're going. Next hour or so, you advance across this bridge. Same thing. Your necklace glows again. You notice the same thing. The guards are all sort of stationed across the top of the bridge. As you near the final gate and the castle looms up in front of you, this is roughly what you see as you approach. The bridge is not this wooden bridge. It's again a wider concrete bridge. It's arched to the side, and in front of you you'll see a big set of steel gates, and the castle's looming up behind it. And you don't see any movement atop of the parapets. The castle looks dark. There's no lit windows or anything like that. But that's roughly the size of the castle, what you'll see when you approach. So as you approach that final gate, the gate opens, seemingly on its own. And you walk forward, and as you walk forward, you see a figure standing in front of you. And that is where we're going to take a break, ladies and gentlemen. So, chat, cheers for hanging out with us tonight. Really appreciate it. We're going to take a 5-minute break so that the cast can get drinks and have loo breaks. And no scope. Why the hell would I give any of my characters tapeworm? It's kind of unnerving. But a little funny.
Could be a critical failure.
It could be. Tapeworm could be a critical fail. That would be interesting. But why
On
just out of
cooking.
curiosity, why do you hate wood elves? And you kind of playing with fire there, picking on Fiala. You might have a barbarian. You might have a barbarian woman like bite a wound into your neck and then rip it open with their bare hands.
Well, that would be Namaris. I have backup, bitches.
And Fiona would probably shapeshift into a cave bear and rip you a new one.
Or into a tapeworm, because now that she's seen
Well,
it.
yeah, exactly. You might transform into a tapeworm and give you a bout of the shits.
It's not against Fiala. It's against wood elf. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not your typical wood elf, so it's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're more human anyway. I'll be right.
So yeah, be with us, guys. I'll be right back, and after these messages. chat. I am back. We're just waiting on a couple of other members to have a drink, a loo break, before we get back into it. But welcome to everyone. Thanks so much for the follows that we got before. Spirit of some names here. So we had a few things. We had JC Kraus or Cruz. I hope I said that right. JCC Roos 16 with a follow. Real Batch Plays, which I think is Batchy's bot, but thank you for the follow. We had Twin Gats Gaming dropping some bits in the chat. Thank you for the biddies, appreciate it. And of course we've had Mr. No Scope join us for the chat as well. So welcome to any new members of the chat. My name's Evldoa. I'm from New Zealand. This is my D&D campaign. We run every Sunday. It's an ongoing campaign. This is episode 23. So if you want to catch up with the rest of the story, jump on my YouTube, !YT in the chat. We'll give you the link, and all the VODs for the previous shows are on the YouTube. Whew, it is warm here this evening.
You're not kidding,
Cheers,
man.
Becca. We're like, 75% humidity here as well, which doesn't help. Sucks.
And today's my crazy day. I've been doing my exercises Saturday, Sunday, and what a dumb day to start getting into more stuff than normal.
Yeah, probably not a good idea to start doing that sort of stuff. Jeez, not in this heat.
Doing what?
100 press-ups a day. 100 press-ups a day. It's not too bad. You can do 10 here, 20 there.
Yeah, I do.
And,
I do
yeah.
sort of 25, 30. Do three or four sets a day generally.
And then an hour on the punch bag this afternoon. Wow, I should have done that in the morning, eh?
Holy crap, man! You would have been drenched.
I was literally dripping off. It was all running off my nose and eyes and everything, eh?
AC 16 now. Ice right, you new armor, didn't you? I can do that.
Armored up.
I love looking at Heat, seeing that he's got pretty much the lowest AC and the lowest HP. It's awesome.
Yeah,
No, in a good way. It's awesome. If you can stay alive and with the lowest AC and HP, it means you're doing something right.
yeah, your AC matches Alessandra's, so, but yeah, your HP is the lowest out of the whole group. At the 36.
Read your messages.
36. Read my messages? No, I don't have any messages.
Just Twitch message.
Yes, I just did it.
Ellie, I just said we can't have secrets.
Awesome.
What the fuck?
Did you send me a private message on Twitch, or are you talking about the chat?
I'm back.
Nobody's back.
Welcome back.
Just took the opportunity to make
Oh,
Hunter's
okay.
school lunch.
Hello.
True. Probably should actually, Trash. You're quite right.
I must say that Het in real life is actually a pretty good bard.
He's not too bad.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Say what now?
Your brother was playing some of your music that
Oh,
you
yes.
and him were.
Played some of the
Earlier.
old Stone Age, well, Massacre in Heaven when we were that, but some of the old tracks. I did a Rocksmith thing the other night on stream, so I played a bit of bass on stream, but then we played some of our old tracks, which was actually pretty cool. Everyone thoroughly enjoyed them.
Ah, cool. Oh, that's good. I'm glad everyone enjoyed it. That was back in the younger days.
Yep. We had Metal Swarm, Make You, Witch Woman, Shellborn.
Yeah, I remember the tracks. Yeah.
Carol, Christmas Carol.
Christmas Carol.
Yeah, the intro to Christmas Carol was still cracks me up to this day.
No, but it's just a pretty big joke, but it's hilarious.
Oh, it was. Mr. Pecker, could you type in the Twitch chat, please? You have been promoted, good sir.
Congrats!
Crap.
Does that come with a pay raise? No.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a voluntary position. You don't get paid for it, but
I don't remember volunteering.
Fortunately, Trashman volunteered you for the position, so, and I agree. And I agree.
Aw. That's sweet.
So you now have the power. You have the power, sir. You have the knight's sword.
He's got the power.
I have the power.
Interesting.
You got the swacks. There you go. You have the swacks of power. But so is everyone back? We're good.
I do believe we're all here.
Sounds like it. So chat, we will get back into the story. Once again, characters will get back into their character minds. And let's carry on. So, you got to the gates, at the basically the castle gates. And as you entered through the castle gates, before you stands a solitary man. Stands about roughly around 6'4", 6'5", very, very tall, very well built as well. Oh, pardon me.
That's a great belch.
He is
He burps.
tall, thin but solid build. Long, dark hair almost to his waist. It's got a couple of braids coming down from the sides, falling down in front of his chest. He is wearing mail armor with sort of mail leggings, and you'll see over his mail shirt is a breastplate, which has a large black dragon's head on the breastplate. His cloak is dark grey, and which is trimmed in a very dark red, and he has dark grey leather pants on and boots. And slung across his back, from what you can see, is you can see the handle sort of protruding from the top, and a part of the scabbard looks like a large two-handed sword strapped across his back. He looks to be probably in his mid-20s, human, but obviously very, very pale. You can't really tell the colour of his eyes from its distance. He's probably about 30 or so feet away from you at this point. He hasn't moved thus far, but his skin looks very smooth and very young. He's standing not at attention, but not relaxed either. It's a very sort of almost like a regal pose, like a king or a prince would stand, sort of hands crossed in front.
Rest type deal.
Yeah, kind of that. So then hands crossed in front of him at waist level. And he sort of just waits for you to move forward, move a bit closer. How much closer do you get to him? You're roughly about 30 feet from him.
He sort of looks at the group and says, well, do I step forward and lead us now, so I'm first?
Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
We've got your back.
So give me a marching order here, guys. So you're going to move to the front. Are you going to move single file, or are you going to be side by side, two abreast? Give me an idea of how you guys are going to be positioned.
How wide is the bridge?
Oh, you're off the bridge now.
Yeah, if it's capable of being two, I'll be standing next to Het.
There's enough room it's almost like a pre courtyard, so there's enough room for you guys to all stand shoulder to shoulder, and stand easily that shoulder hands width apart. There's plenty of room for you guys to sort of almost give yourself like in kind of a battle formation, almost, if you wanted to.
I'll stand at Het's left shoulder.
Okay. So Sadiq, you're going to stand on Het's right, and Amaris on the left.
Yep, sounds like right.
Alessandros, Fiala, your position?
Yeah.
Whereabouts are you going to stand in relation to Het? You got Sadiq on the right, and Amaris on the left.
I'd do diagonally, kind of behind, kind of like a triangle formation,
Okay.
but you know.
Likewise.
Okay, so you guys sort of stand behind them, but kind of in the gap so you can be seen. Almost a half pie sort of flying V pyramid type formation. Cool. How much closer do you guys get to him?
I'm following Hit's lead, so wherever he stops, I stop.
Pretty
if I do.
much.
Hit will go up to within 10 feet of the other being unless he has stopped.
As you approach, you notice that there seems to be no aggression in his face. He's very calm. He's very almost polite in the way that he sort of half pie nods as you walk closer. You get within 15 feet, and he starts to speak. And he bows, not deeply, but bows his head enough, lowers his eyes from yours, and says, "Greetings. Welcome to my home. I'm sure you know who I am, but allow me to introduce myself. I am Kassan Agnon, but most just call me Kas. I am pleased you decided to come, as I'm sure Riffick's family would have not enjoyed waiting any longer." And he sort of gives you a sly grin, and with that grin you can see the eye teeth quite clearly, very sharp, very pointy, and he raises a hand, and from as you look up to where he's sort of half by pointing, you see in a window in one of the towers lights up, and in that window you see a woman and a child of about 12 or 13. They look to be gagged and possibly bound. Neymaris, you recognize them instantly as Uma and Zuri. They don't look like they've been harmed, but they definitely are. They're definitely captive. He then brings his hand back down and looks directly at you, Sadiq, and says, "So, I see you survived, and it seems you have grown into a fine warrior, fighting for good and what's right." Ha ha! And he laughs loudly at you. "Tell me."
Hit interrupts him at this point.
And he raises a hand and says, "Respect goes a long way, Dragonborn. May I finish?"
Okay, you may.
And he again turns to you, Sadiq, and says, "Tell me, Dharm, do you ever wonder why your brethren were slaughtered? Do you not feel guilty for not dying with them?"
Every day.
Well, one day you may find the answer to that. And then he sort of stands upright again and relaxes, crosses his arms across his waist again, and sort of nods to you, Het, and says, "Now, Master Dragonborn, Het, I believe, you may continue."
Good sir, I was just stepping forward just to make sure there was nothing going between you and my friend here. But before you stands the Lions of Valond, as you well know. You invited us here. I am the Het Maiden, and you seem to know that as well. I am the 7th son of Iron, my father, and he the 7th son of his father Breed. And this behind me is, well, beside me, my friend Sadiq, who you seem to know by another name. My friend Neymaris, and our friends Fiona and Ellie. And we are here to parlay at your request. So ask of us what you will, but know that we also have questions of you as well.
I expected nothing less. Of course, we are on opposite sides of the same war, it seems. I am obviously invited you here because I'm sure by now you have discovered what is happening and are scrambling to figure out how you, and he looks around at you guys with a bit of a sarcastic look in his face, band of heroes, shall we say, are going to stop what is coming. I'm not sure that you can. Obviously, you've come here under the pretense of Parlay, and I intend to honor this. I am a warrior and live by the warrior's code still, even though I'm no longer of this world. But know this, that if you do attempt to stand in my way, you will fall. There is no doubt of this. Dam here has seen firsthand what happens to those that defy my lord. He is the last of his clan. Dam, I know you are seeking answers about why your clan was slaughtered. And who slaughtered your clan? I'm figuring you already know this, but I will tell you anyway. Your clan rose up against my master and stood with man and elf and dwarf against him. This will not happen again, as your clan no longer exists. You are the last. And if you indeed stand against him in turn, you will also fall. As will the Dragonborn, the elves, the dwarves, humans. No one can stop what is coming. And with that, you hear a sound coming from the shadows to the left of the castle. And a large being emerges from the shadows. Stands approximately 8.5 feet tall. Large leathery wings folded behind a large muscular frame. 2 large horns curl down in front and out to the side of this creature's head. A large beard. He carries a large trident, skulls and that adorning the handle. A large, almost codpiece with giant, looks like almost like a dragon skull. He has cloven hoofed feet, and as he walks, takes 2 or 3 steps towards your group, the ground shakes with just the weight. And before you, ladies and gentlemen, stands this man. He has not said anything. He has not a very nice look on his face. He's not smiling. He's not angry, but he's definitely has a very intense look, and he's looking directly at you, Sadiq. And he just stands there at this point, just says nothing. Also, too, from behind Kas, you see a couple of humanoid individuals walking the bound figures of Uma and Zuri, and then literally comes back beside Kas and has them kneel basically beside him. Nice one, Drax. With that, Kas continues and sort of turns and motions towards this figure. And as you see, my lord has the ability to breach the veil as he wishes, albeit for a brief time. But that will change. Now, I called you here to offer you a place with us. Join us. Live out the end of days and be an instrument for hell. Do not think that the mere mortals of this realm will stand against us. You will not succeed. And this whole time he's focused directly on you, Sadiq. He is looking you directly in the face. He never takes his eyes off you.
Well, not to interrupt any standing silence and looking at each other that's going on here, as crazy as this is, the two people you have bound, we wish to take them, and that is why we are here. That is one of our standing questions. What is your plans for this family of Riffic? Because we wish to take them back with us.
Well, they were to be payment for a certain item that we require. But things have changed. Depending on your decision here today, we may allow them to leave with you. Who knows? My lord's decision, you will know soon enough. And with that, again, staring at you, Sadiq, Cash takes 2 steps directly towards you. And pretty much now he's almost shoulder to shoulder with you, Het, because he is very tall, and his steps are quite large, and he's got quite a long gait. And he holds his hand out in almost a beckoning motion and says, "It's time for you to take your rightful place at his side." And so what do you say? What do you do? He's still looking directly at you.
I stand with my friends.
I take 3 steps forward, hold out my hand. I am ready.
Cass then turns and looks at Namaris and says, "We greet you, Ashana. Join your master." And he waves you towards the beast's side.
Hey, say what now? What's going on here, Namaris?
Namaris ignores you. She does not turn. She starts slowly walking towards the winged figure, slowly but with purpose. What do you guys do?
Kaz, are you willing to trade?
You have nothing to offer.
I might.
Let's hear what you think is and what are you wanting in return.
What if I give you information?
I have all the information I need. And he looks at you with some clear intent.
Guys, I need to stall.
Okay, I don't know what's going on here, but Sadiq, do you have a clue what's happening to Mars? What's going on?
I have no idea.
I'm gonna be hated for this, but I'm gonna do it.
Allie, what do you do?
So it's fairly dark and dimly lit, yeah.
It's nighttime. It is dimly lit, yes.
Alright, shadow step to behind the Maris.
As you attempt to shadow step, you feel yourself move into the shadow, and then you step out, and you're exactly where you were before. It's strange. This has never happened before. You're not sure what has caused it. And with that, Cass raises his hand and just says, "Tut tut. There'll be none of that. If you wish to die this day, by all means, proceed down that path, changeling." And he gives you the most intense stare.
What is it with you guys and all these
and rolls a 24 on an intimidation check.
Oh, you suck.
You know with that look and the fact that he sort of bore his teeth to you as well. He sort of curled his lips enough to show you that he meant business, and you know that whatever you try to do next would probably be the last thing you ever did.
Oh,
By this stage, Namaris has reached the winged beast's side. She turns and looks back at you guys. What you see is, it's not Namaris. Her eyes are jet black. She has no emotion on her face. There is no smile, there's no smirk, there's no grimace. It's just very emotionless. Her hands are at her side. She is standing tall and almost at attention, but that you do not recognize her as Namaris anymore. She is not there. It's just real strange.
Now you listen here, Kas. I don't know what you're doing, what you've done with Namaris.
We have done nothing to Ashana. She was with us from the beginning. She was always with us. And with that, the beast and Namaris turn and vanish into the shadows.
We will never join you. The rest of us, I don't know what's going on, but there's no chance the rest of us are joining you and your minions.
Because he's shoulder to shoulder with you right now, so he turns and looks down at you because he's a little bit taller than you. And he just says to you and grins, "I know." And with that, 20 or 30 armed guards emerge from the shadows. Sadiq, your amulet is now glowing a bright, bright green. You know that there are undead, there are fiends, there are all manner of evil things within 30 feet of your current position. And you probably would have noticed it start to glow the moment Namaris took that first step forward. What do you guys do?
We need to get out of here.
And Kas then turns and half-pied nods to the creatures beside him. And with that, both of them sink their fangs into Uma's and Suri's throats, ripping their throats out on the spot.
Ah, crap.
And Kas then turns back and looks at all of you and says, "Run."
yeah, let's do what he says.
Yep.
Do you run?
Sadiq, it's on you. What are we doing?
Let's run.
Run.
Head follow Sadiq's orders to run.
I'll get all of you to make a quick athletics check to see how well you turn and flee. If anyone stumbles and falls.
20.
Yeah, Alessandros, you're the first. You turn with such a speed on your feet, and you bolt. You're the first through the gate. You just absolutely take off.
I know, I'm a chicken shit. No, it wasn't on that 20.
Mine was.
Yeah, I'm assuming Pekka's was. So Pekka, you're the same. You, as much as you want to stand and fight, you really want to gut this beast where he stands. You know you're outnumbered. You know you generally will not prevail in this battle. And you do probably one of the hardest things you've had to do this day. A, you've lost an ally. B, you now have to turn and run away from the very thing that you've been chasing for the last 2, 3, 4 years. You turn and you bolt. Hit. What was your roll?
10 for hit.
10. Not as quick or graceful as the others, but you turn. You start to run. You're probably a little slower than the rest, but you've got a lot.
Also does not want to run.
You don't want to run either. I mean, your anger has boiled definitely with what's just happened. Again, you've lost an ally and someone you probably considered a friend by now. You are definitely taken by complete surprise at what has just happened. and you also run. Probably not as fast as the others, but you've got probably a longer gait, so you'll probably be able to keep up with them reasonably well. And Fiala.
9, but I'm pissed.
Yeah, so you you half by stumble and sort of trip as you fall, so you don't fall, but you almost that stumble run as you turn and run. And with that, as you guys start running, you hear Kas's command. After it gives you 3 or 4, probably sort of 2 or 3 minutes, and then you hear, "Bring me their heads." And then you just hear the clatter of armor and sword and the yelling as what would probably be 20 to 30 armed undead soldiers are now pursuing you across the bridge. Across the bridges, heading back towards Aris, the city. So yeah, you guys are running. You just bolting it. You do not want to be involved in this battle. It is a battle you definitely cannot win. So you run and you run and you run. You cross the first bridge close to the castle. You notice as you're running that the guards atop the castle walkways are no longer there. You keep running. You obviously keeping an eye out for potential dangers. If you don't see anything, you now come to the second bridge. You've been running now for probably an hour and a half. You're tired. Your thighs, your calves are burning. You're out of breath. You still hear the group coming from behind you, but they don't seem to be gaining. What do you want to do? Do you want to just keep running?
We got 30 on our back.
You still
how many are on our back?
You can hear them, but you're not sure how many at this point.
And how far away from the town?
Probably you'd be running for at least another. Well, if you're going to keep up a run, you'd be running for another 2 or 3 hours before you could get
them, aren't we?
before you get to the town.
So, which bridge are we at?
You're now at the second bridge, halfway across the second bridge.
I'm
You
gonna
got
suggest
three
we
more
pull up
bridges.
here. We pull up here and make our stand.
Let's drop
Hell
the bridge. Sadiq, we drop the bridge. Get him on the other side and we hit him at a distance.
It's stone head.
It's all stone.
We've got casters. We can drop it, I'm sure. We can get something going on here.
You
If
can
you,
attempt
think
it.
you, if you think you can take it out, head, by all means.
The bridge is a narrow channel. We can choke them out.
The bridge is about 30 foot wide, so it's not a small bridge. It's got arches and everything on the sides.
Namaris gave me the flask, and I can make it do what I want. The oil is the way to go, Ali. You could be right. We just smear it in oil and light it up.
Yep, that'll slow them down.
Anything will delay them.
So you use the alchemy jug and produce oil.
Correct, I can make whatever a quart is.
Hang on. It's an alchemy jug, so you can any liquid, yeah?
Yeah, I'm just looking it up. Acid, it's got acid at the top of the list.
I don't think undead benefit from acid, do they?
Fucking
No.
acid at the bridge.
No, do oil, burn, and then do acid right behind it.
Unfortunately, I will only be able to use the jug once for the day before I can have to rest it before it uses it again.
Ah, crap.
Just a question: what's a highly flammable liquid that we can put? Apart
Napalm.
from
It
oil?
only has a X amount of liquid in it. It's got it listed in the spell what liquids it can use.
Yeah, I can do acid, I can do basic poison, I can do beer, honey, mayo, oil, vinegar, water, fresh and water, salt, and wine, and that's it.
All right, oil it is then.
So
We're gonna run out of time.
by this time, as you're discussing what you're going to do, you listen, and all of a sudden, you don't hear anything anymore. The sounds of the armor and the swords clanging and the voices have stopped.
It's already pouring oil on the bridge.
Pour away.
he empties the entire quart from the jug.
So a quart's not a huge amount, but it'd be enough if you were to sort of gauge it right. You could pour it across the full width of the bridge without too many hassles.
Yayla, you able to cast thorny bushes or something like that across the bridge?
I'll go Druidcraft. I can light this up.
So make it go across, and we can use.
Everyone's got a tinderbox, so you should have a tinderbox in your pack, so it'd be easy enough to light the oil.
I have. Me and Het can cast whatever it is.
Thaumaturgy.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that'll also light the oil.
Yep. Light it up.
Does Fiona cast it?
A thorny bush. Give my word, you've got a thorny bush.
Yikes!
So what are you doing, guys?
I didn't prepare that one.
That's okay.
Any kind of bush.
Allie, let's just. Allie and Het will light it up, eh? Let's have thaumaturgy.
I'm bushless.
So as you cast your thaumaturgy spells, the oil ignites and produces a small wall of flame, probably about 4 or 5 feet in height, spanning the width of the bridge. As you sort of look to see if your pursuers are still indeed pursuing you, again, you hear nothing, you see nothing. All seems very quiet and still.
Is my amulet alive?
No, it is not.
Not within 30 feet, at least.
Fuck, what do we do? Are we running? Is this over?
I say we keep on going, but at a slower pace. Well, not a full-on sprint, but
just a sort of
maintainable
casual
pace.
jog.
Yeah.
Quick march kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like
as quick as we can without, winding ourselves.
Yeah. So I'd say you guys, being adventurers as you are, you'd be able to keep a forced march pace without too many hassles. So almost a little bit faster than a double time march. So that wouldn't be a problem. With that, it would take you approximately 4 to 5 hours from your current point to reach the city or the city walls. You do know that the city guard is more than likely working for Kas, although some of its people obviously don't feel the same way, or probably most of its people. So you have options.
I have a question.
Yeah, yes.
That portal that we went, got teleported to.
Yes.
Is that been moved to that location, or is it still in the city?
You don't know.
Because what I was going to suggest is, instead of going in through the city, we go around the city, avoiding its occupants and trying to get back.
Yeah, unfortunately, you don't have a sorcerer with you that could cast teleport, so you won't be able to use that teleporter to go back because you need a sorcerer to cast that spell.
Oh, we can't go back.
So you are now not really. I mean, you've got options, but at the moment you are currently on a darkened bridge in the far southwestern portion of Paradym, with no allies.
Well, I guess as we're moving, Het, Sister Sadiq, we need a new plan. Are we evacuating the area, or are we gonna stop, regain our thoughts? We're gonna try and take this guy's castle from behind. What's your thoughts?
I don't think we can take the castle. Did you have any inkling about Namaris being whoever the hell she was?
I had no idea. That was out of the King Blue, I tell you.
I'm wondering, Thorfinn might know. I want to get back to that.
Yeah.
Find out what the hell.
Once again, I believe that Thorfinn has betrayed us.
Yeah, at the same time, why didn't he tell us that she has a darker side?
There was an occasion where she used to sleepwalk and bash doors down and stuff. Ellie knows this outright. But it sort of subsided, and she said it was just something she'd been going through, and I don't remember the rest, but generally did not think. I thought she had a kind heart. Now I just want to kill her.
So,
Alright, what's the
you-
nearest teleporter to? How do we get back?
You would know that you're at the moment you've got two options. Well, Fiala, you would know you've got two options to get back to Valond via teleport. One, and Hit, you would know this as well. One is your hometown, obviously, and the other would potentially be in the city of Aris if you could find a sorcerer that is willing to help you, obviously. Otherwise, you'd have to head towards where you grew up, or where you spent pretty much where you've spent your time with Begilia. There's a town close by that would potentially have a sorcerer who could teleport you.
Well, there is my town nearby, I guess.
You mean a week's walk?
Well, I mean, Hit, do you take out your map and have a look? Because
He unrolls his map and puts it on the ground and casts a light
you
above
all have maps available to you. So if you take out your map, you're currently probably halfway between Kira Mroth and Anis. You guys, if you're looking at Fiala, she I don't know if she's told you guys exactly where she's from, but the Begilia Mountains is to the northeast. And Hit,
I don't think she has.
your hometown is like 2 realms away from where you currently are. So it's probably on foot would be 2 to 3 weeks travel.
Really.
Even to get to the Begilia Mountains region and to the biggest city there or town there, which is Leftfield, you're looking from where you are probably a good 2 weeks worth of travel on foot. If you could get horses maybe, or you've got a chance to grab a boat to head back, or like I said, you've got teleporter options, but you need to find a town that has a sorcerer able to teleport you back. Closest one is definitely Aris. You've got Muku to the north. No one really knows Muku. None of you have been there before, but it's definitely a town of some size.
Okay, and Hit puts his compass down on the map to stop the wind from blowing it away. Looks like we've got a few options, team. I mean, where do you want to head? We don't want to go, I mean, Anis is close, but it's not close enough, really. We need to ask maybe in a couple of these smaller towns that are closer by.
To the directly east, you have a town of Bickerscali as well, a place you guys never been, but on the map it shows as being a sizable town.
My hometown is safe, but it's just not any closer than yours, Het.
Well,
It would be about a week's travel closer, but yeah, you'd have to travel through, obviously through Snakemore, then through Grey River area, the Hila jungle, which is pretty dangerous. A lot of orc bandits frequent the Hila jungle that you remember, and there's like sinkholes which lead into pretty deep caverns and cave systems.
Don't suppose Begilia could help me teleport?
You could try and commune with him and see if he's able to help.
Alright guys,
You gonna attempt that?
This might be a shock, but I have something to show you, and I'm gonna call on Begilia with my cloak and ask him
That's a once per night thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well,
the
cloak specifically doesn't call Begilia, that calls an animal, but you are able, while wearing it, able to commune with Begilia.
Yeah, well, in my panic, I forgot that. Yeah.
So you sort of kneel down, put your hands in your lap, put your head down, and you then just start thinking of Begilia, your mentor, the man that spent pretty much his whole life looking after you and teaching you the ways of the druid and everything that you know about nature, and you just focus on him. And after about 5 or 10 minutes, you feel hands on your shoulders, and they gently squeeze your shoulders to let you know that someone's there. You look up, there's no one there, but you definitely feel his presence there. You can ask him 3 questions.
Vigilia, have you seen everything that's going on?
And he squeezes you with assurance that he is aware of things that's happening, knows exactly what's happening.
I can ask 2 more questions,
2 more
team.
questions, yeah.
Is there anything? Can you guys? I don't have the best of speaking ability. Can you guys help me figure out what to ask to help us out of this?
Can he run the teleporter for us?
Can you run the teleporter for us to get home?
Nothing happens for 20 or 30 seconds, and then you feel that same positive squeeze on your right shoulder, that you get the impression that he indeed could potentially send you back to Vermont.
Maybe ask him where the best place for us to go for this is, if he can send us.
Where's the best place we can go for you to send us home?
And you, in your head, in your mind's eye, you see a picture of a tree, a large oak tree. And you remember from your teachings as a druid and Vigilia, you don't have this ability yet yourself, but you remember Vigilia showing you a spell which he was able to use a plant to send himself places, and yourself. You guys used it to travel to Leffield on occasion, or to the outskirts of Leffield, using a tree as a teleportation point.
I want that spell.
And with that, you feel the hands fade from your shoulders, but you get a warm sensation within your body that he's always with you. And as you complete the commune, you sort of blink your eyes. You come to out of that sort of thought process, and yeah. You now know he's given you a rough idea of direction too. So you need to go to back to around Aris, and you need to look for a large tree. And
right.
You get the impression that he'll either be waiting there, or you'll be able to. So something will be there that'll send you guys home.
Right. Does anyone have a compass?
Well, it just so happens. I mean, it was pure chance. I was talking to this guy only earlier, and I managed to get one.
This could save our life.
Fuck you, Namaris. She was saying, "Oh no, I'll always be here." Blah blah blah. Well, lucky I have this compass now, eh? Lucky. Now, you're the fucking naysayers, and here it is, compass to guide the fucking way. Oh, I'm so glad I bought a compass.
And with that,
he's a bit sweaty about that.
And with that, you guys collect your map and your bloody compass, and you make your way. Again, you got to get off the bridges first. You make your way back towards the city of Aris. Along the way, you don't hear or see any of the enemies. It seems that they've cleared out, and maybe Kas was just fucking with you to let you know his kind of power or whatever. But you don't seem to be traveling hindered at all. You get to the bridge on the outskirts of Aris. The gate is open. The guards are not there. The gates to the city are closed. There are no guards on the outside of the gate. You do see a bit of movement on the outer wall. A few shadows moving around. To the east of the city, you do see a group of trees. And after a couple of hours of searching, you do indeed find a large oak tree. And Fiala, as you get to this oak tree, you reach out and you put your hand on it. And the moment your hand touches that tree, you hear Begilia's voice casting that familiar spell. And with that, a portal opens in the trunk of the tree. And from memory, you tell everyone, quick, into the tree. You got 6 seconds, same as a portal spell, to get into this portal and for you to take you home. Do you enter the portal, people?
Damn right.
Yeah, sure.
You guys all, without even hesitation, you dive into the trunk of this tree, and within an instant, you are back in the city of Evldoa, not at the Arcanus, but you are on the outskirts of the city, in the trees, and you've literally just stepped out of another tree, and are now in familiar surroundings, back at the city of Evldoa. And this is where we'll end tonight's session. Thank you very much, players. Apologies for the twist, but it was necessary and a whole lot of fun.
You traitor, Damaris.
No apologies needed, man.
Hey.
I actually felt like something was up.
Double cross. But chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Really appreciate it. For all you new faces in the chat, welcome. Again, my name is Evldoa. We do D&D every Sunday night. Until further notice, it may switch back to every second Sunday depending on what happens. Night, Jax. Have a good one, buddy. Cheers for hanging out as long as you did. Appreciate it.
Night, dude.
So definitely, if you want to catch up with where the story has been and has come from, !YT in the chat will give you the YouTube link, which will give you all of the previous VODs. They're all there. Go check them out. Thank you for any follows that I missed. Sorry about, we obviously get focused in the game and want to keep the immersion going as much as possible. So we don't really deal with the chat too much, but do appreciate you hanging out. Team.
Those damn mushrooms, wasn't it?
Well done, team. Awesome roleplay from everybody tonight. Amazing. Hit.
It was a role-play game.
Awesome as usual. Kind of had it planned that way, obviously, but amazing night. Everyone did so well. So XP for tonight. As far as XP, there is no XP, but I am going to give you a milestone level. So everyone level 7 for next show.
Sweet.
So literally just level up to level 7. So you'll start at whatever the XP is at top of level 7. So yeah, Aris has
Left the building.
So, we don't know what's happening with her next week. Is she back or is she in new tune?
We'll tune in next Sunday, 7:30 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time, to see what becomes of the Lions of Evldoa. Now down their tank, well, one of their tanks. Will Aris return? Will she not return? Will we see a new character? Who knows? But definitely tune in next week. As I said, guys, every Sunday night we do this. During the week I do gaming. We do a bit of D&D mini painting as well. So check out my schedule. It's in the description below. Check out my Twitter, all my socials. So !social in the chat will give you all my socials, Instagram, Twitter, all that sort of stuff. We announce on Twitter when we go live. Announce on the Discord if you want to join the Discord and hang out with us, guys. Quite often there's a few of us in the Discord just hanging out. Come and hang out with us, !Discord in the chat. But with that, we're going to say goodnight and thank you very, very much, and we will see you again next Sunday for more D&D, but back on Tuesday for gaming. I'm going to find my thanks. Here it is. Good night.